Okay. Welcome, Mr. John. Thank you for your time to share the pool of experience with us. Um,
Thank you.
Before
It's
we
a pleasure
start,
to be here.
okay, before we start, I would like to you to share your information with us. I know you had your school's SSC from Nigeria
Yeah.
before you were able to get a fully sponsored scholarship down to the United States of America. It's actually a good one. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Uh, yes, so how were you able to maneuver your way? So can you just run us through how you were able to secure that? Uh, yeah.
Okay. First of all, I'll say everybody's path is different. So I will speak about my path and just talk about how any other person can do it. But for me, when I was in my senior year of high school, I got accepted into a program called a program hosted by the U.S. Embassy. It's Education Yes, which is a wing of
Okay.
the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria. So I was not an opportunity fund scholar, but I was in a competitive college club. So what they did was that they coached me through the. I never knew about how to apply to the U.S. before that time, and after my experience, it was a year-long program. So I was coached by the advisors at the U.S. Embassy. I learned about the application process, what to do. For instance, there's this platform called the Common Application. So what happens there is that the Common App is a unified system where you can apply to various schools through one application. You complete a general application, then you see school-specific applications also. So schools like Harvard, Princeton, Auburn University, they are all on Common App. You just need to search them, add them up to your profile. Then you can invite your teachers to write recommendation letters for you to on Common App. So basically on Common App, you can submit um, all your applications through one system. It saves you stress of going to each of the school's website. So things like that, the information like that, schools to apply to, how to do it, how to write essays, because the US admission process is holistic, as I'm sure you know. It's not just about
Mhm.
your grades, it's about your person, who you are beyond your grades. They don't just want to admit someone who checks all the boxes. Who are you beyond your grades and all? What do you do in the community? How do you contribute to people's lives and stuff like that? So um, I learned all those things at the US Embassy through the excellent work of the advisor. So that was how I got into the process. But I didn't actually get or come to the US at a go. It took me a while. I didn't get it at the first try because my SAT score was not that great. So another thing is that you need to write the SAT, which is a scholastic aptitude test. So it's just like, okay, for a Nigerian, for instance, I would say it's just like JAMB, but it's not JAMB. So it consists of math, that's the math section and English section, which is the verbal section. So like with every other exam, you can't just walk into the exam and write it and pass. You have to study particularly for that exam because despite the fact that you'll have covered most of these concepts in your Nigerian education system, you still need to learn how the exam works. Because for instance, there's a section where you can use calculators in the math section. There's a section where you can use calculators. There's the time limit and everything is something you must master. So those are some of the things I learned through the Education USA advisors. And please, you can stop me whenever you feel the need to ask another
Yeah.
question. So one other thing that I learned was that, okay, you can use your WIAC to apply to US schools. So the US schools will require your transcripts and your SAT scores. These days, because of COVID and the way schools are transitioning, sometimes they waive SAT scores, though I will still advise you as an international student who is looking for scholarships to write it. I will strongly advise that you write it. So they ask for a transcript, and when they ask for a transcript, you can either submit your high school transcript, which is your SS1 to SS3 results, as the case may be, or SS1 to SS2. I know some schools don't write, they don't give you results in SS3 because you'll be writing WIAC and stuff then. So schools give results, so you can just let your school prepare your transcript for you, send it in a sealed envelope or something to the
Okay.
West for evaluation.
Oh, so you have to pass through West, or is it like you have to scan it and send to them? I know some schools,
Yes.
though, like you can submit an unofficial transcript for you to get the admission. Does that
Okay,
apply
now
to undergraduate too?
okay, that's a great question. The problem with WAEC is that to a foreigner, A1, B2 does not really mean anything unless the school is one that has been admitting students from West Africa for a while, maybe top
Mm.
schools like Harvard who have their own way of evaluating results. But most US schools don't know what those things mean. So it's just like giving somebody Greek and the person is French. So you have to translate it into a language they understand. And that is what WES and other evaluation bodies are for. So if you have your WIAC, for instance, you have all Bs, they need to know what all Bs mean. So most schools these days require evaluation. Unfortunately, that might be a barrier for most international students, but they require evaluation for international students. And in my case, I had to evaluate my WIAC at some point with a body called, I think, Educational Credits Evaluators, ECE.
Okay.
Yes, I use them, but I will advise you to use WES because
Yes.
WES is more favorable to your GPA, and they evaluate it just in a more holistic way than other people. But because it was cheaper and it was faster, I used them. So like I was
Okay.
saying, you can either choose to
Okay,
evaluate your
okay,
high.
okay, hold on. Before you
Okay,
move ahead, so you made use of ETA instead
I
of
did.
West. Okay,
Yes.
all right, continue.
Yeah. So as I was saying, you can either choose to evaluate your high school transcript or your WAEC. But the good thing with evaluating your WAEC is that it is a regional exam. Most, if not all, schools will accept it. But your high school transcript, they might not all schools might accept it. It might be a difficulty sending it from all the way from Nigeria to West and all the whole stuff. West can easily make you buy a scratch card to check the validity of your WAEC, but it might be a longer process when you're trying to evaluate your high school transcript. So whenever they ask for transcript, just know that you can submit your WAEC. And in some cases, you can, if you have the money, you can evaluate NECO too. It's all right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's lovely. So now, particularly after securing the admission, like how were you able to maneuver the aspect of the scholarship? Because I know the undergraduate scholarship is tough. How were you able
Yes.
to get yours?
Okay. One thing is that like the US schools, most of them have institutional scholarships. So
Mhm.
many people, many people ask for scholarships, they will tell me, okay, send me a link to the scholarship. I tell them it's not like sending a link. Sometimes you have to apply for admission first. Then after you get the admission, then the scholarship comes as a package with it. So what happens is that when you write the SAT, um, and you score well on the SAT, it's not just about getting a high enough score to get into school. If you score well enough to well above average, your international students, there are schools that particularly spell out the scholarships that they will give you if you get a particular SAT score. So I know schools that will say if you have 1450 and above, you get a president scholarship. That they might say or a full tuition scholarship where you will not need to pay tuition, obviously, and you might need to pay other minor fees. Other schools are more generous. Some schools will say, okay, if you have 1,400, a 3.5 GPA, you get a full ride scholarship. Like some schools, it's spelled out and it's straightforward. But some other schools, you still have to, then they'll shortlist you. You have to write some essays. You have to do an interview before you get a scholarship. But when you apply through the Common App, you choose things called safety schools. You choose schools that are okay, you want schools they're like a reach for you. You might not get into them. It's just possible for you to get into them. Then you choose moderate schools too. So you just have a healthy mix of schools so that and before you shortlist your schools and choose the schools you want to go to, you should check the scholarships that are available at those schools to see if it's something you might qualify for, which is why you must write the exam first before you begin applying so that you can know where to apply to and where not to waste your time at. Sorry to say, but there are some schools you should not even apply to if you do not have the scores to get into them, or if you're not sure of a scholarship. It will be tantamount to wasting your time when you apply to them. So in my case, I applied to a school where my SAT score qualified me for a scholarship, and that was how I got my scholarship.
Okay. Now I know we have different schools. Like, is there a kind of particular schools like that they have to look into, probably like minorities, things like that? Or
Yeah,
do you have any preference?
that's a great question. So now, when people, international students particularly, at least from Nigeria, I can speak for Nigeria, when they think of applying to US schools, they look at the big schools, which is very important. You apply to the first thing they want to do is to go to Ivy League schools, which is great. I will always advise you to shoot your shot as high as you can. You can get in. It's not impossible. There are tons of Nigerians in these schools. But also, when you begin to see that you're not getting into the schools or you're getting into them, because some of these schools will accept you, but they won't give you scholarships. And if you're someone who is looking for a scholarship, you have to be realistic about your chances. You can get a good education at any other school. It doesn't have to be an Ivy League school. Besides, you're an undergraduate, you have your whole life ahead of you. You can do your master's there, you can do your PhD there later in life. So there are schools in the US that are more receptive towards international students. You can check acceptance rates. There are tons of college resources online where you can see acceptance rates. There are schools that have scholarships set aside for international students. And also there are historically Black colleges and universities called HBCUs. Now, HBCUs are great schools. They are schools that are established for Black people originally, but now they are opening to everybody. But they are majorly composed of Black people. So HBCUs are also very receptive to to international students from Nigeria too, and in most cases the threshold for getting a scholarship and for getting admission into the schools is not that high. So if you get a very good GPA and a good SAT score, I advise you to apply to HBCUs. They are a great bet if you want a great education. And if you want scholarships, they are also a great resource, a great place to look at if you're applying from Nigeria and other places. So one thing I would say is look out for specific scholarships. Scholarships, sometimes some schools will have scholarships for people from West Africa. So in that kind of case, you don't have to compete with people from all around the world. You only have to compete with people from your region or from your country. And it makes things easier for you than competing with people from, I don't know, wherever in the world, or grouping you together as an international student and you are finding it difficult to get the scholarship. So look for specific scholarships and apply for them.
Okay. So that's being said,
Yeah.
why apply? One of the requirements, how many recommendation letters do they need as undergraduates?
Okay, I think in my case, I got through recommendation letters.
Okay.
For undergraduates, if you apply through the common application, and just to be clear, the common application is not the only platform by which you can apply. Sorry, before I answer the question, there's this thing called the Coalition app. There's one for Black schools, that's HBCUs, that you can also use. But the common app is the biggest. It's the biggest. It has most schools in it. Most schools that you know are on the common app. So if you apply through the common app, they will require a recommendation letter from your counselor in high school and from two other teachers, I think. So they will also have to sign up on common app and submit a recommendation from their end. So 3 recommendations in most cases. And also, you can also apply directly on the school's website. You don't have to go through the common app and the other things. You can apply directly on the school's website, but it's just that it's more hectic going to each school and applying on their website. Yeah.
So they have to pay application fee for all these schools?
Okay, that's a great question. Okay. So you do in most cases, but the common app has a fee waiver program for people who cannot afford it. So in my case, I got a waiver to apply to most of the schools. So applied to many schools in the US for absolutely for free. In some cases, they will ask for, some schools refuse to waive it, or if I go to the school's website directly to apply, maybe they are not common app, they ask for a fee. But that's why in those cases, I write letters to the school. I ask them for fee waivers, and sometimes they give me the waivers, sometimes they do not. And that's why there are about 4,500 colleges and universities in the US. If they do not give you, I honestly do not see any reason why you should pay. You should just apply to another school that fits your profile, unless you are sure of getting a scholarship at that school. Then maybe it's worth it to pay an application fee to apply. But you can always seek waivers through the common app. Um, The college board, which is the board that handles the whole SAT and the whole application process, is the one that also has Common App. So they're the ones who handles the whole fee waiver process. Just putting it out there.
Okay. For people that might not know what Common App is, it's like a website or like it's an app that you download from Play Store or what?
Okay. Common App is a website, obviously. You just go to www.commonapp.org. So it's just like I said, it's an undergraduate college admission application platform that students can use to apply. I think they have an app, but you don't need the app on your device. You can just use your computer, go to the site, and you see what to do. But in most cases, since you have to populate the Common App with your application, your SAT scores and stuff, just you can start filling it, obviously, but be sure that you are on your way to writing the exams first before you begin the whole process. And again, I actually did not end up in the US through an admission that came in through the Common App. I got admissions through the Common App, but the school I'm currently at actually applied directly on their website. So it's not a one size fits all thing. It's not that you must go to Common App. It just makes your life easier, and you can still apply directly on the school's website.
Okay, I want to ask, do they have to write any form of English proficiency, like IELTS?
Okay, no,
TOEFL?
I did not write the TOEFL. I did not write the IELTS. I made it clear to schools that asked me that I am from Nigeria. My education was in English. The lingua franca in Nigeria is English, and all my life English is my first language. So I wrote strong essays. Besides, the SAT has a verbal and English section, and my scores in those sections were okay. So they were decent enough. I demonstrated to them that, okay, I know English well enough to come to your school, and I do not need to write the IELTS or the TOEFL. So whenever a school asks you for it, I don't know about other countries, but I know the US, most US schools are willing to waive it for you as far as they know that your country is an English-speaking country.
Okay. I think lastly, I have a question. What question is that? It skipped my mind.
Okay.
But actually, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful time.
Yeah.
And I believe that people have actually learned from that aspect. Yeah. So with that, if you have any question, just drop it at in the comments section. And
And
see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. John. See you
Yeah.
next time.
Thank you.